Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with the Coaches. I'm Holly, and this is my lovely cohort, Tim. Okay, I almost called you Tim. My husband's name is Tim. She's not Tim, she's Kim. Happy holidays. How's everybody doing? Kim, how are you?
I am great. I have peppermint coffee and I am feeling wonderful. How are you?
Peppermint coffee? Is it like hot chocolate or is it coffee?
Coffee. It's just like flavored coffee.
So I bought a peppermint hot like coffee thinking that it was like a peppermint mocha because that's one of my vices over the holidays. Yeah. But it was peppermint flavored coffee and it almost came back out.
Ooh.
It was not good maybe because I was anticipating it being like cocoa
Yeah.
and it was like actual like black coffee like what I usually drink. It was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like regular coffee that's like peppermint. I mean, they call it like candy cane flavored. So it's got like a little bit of peppermint. I think they added vanilla because it doesn't have the bite of peppermint. You know how like if you use too much peppermint, you're like, ugh, this is gross. Kind of like what happened with my cookies yesterday. So this is better. This is different.
Hey.
I think I'm here. Am I here?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. So I have that mug, Colin, by the way, but mine is North Carolina.
All right. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So everybody, this is Colin Aarons, and he is from Bright Horizons, and he's our special guest today. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you very much. I just took the opportunity to re-up my coffee, and these days, coffee is really a vehicle for eggnog. So that's splash my eggnog in and.
Yes. So I discovered a new eggnog, speaking of eggnogs. And we are going to get into the topic of the day because I know we don't have a ton of time. So eventually we'll start talking about that. It's Southern Comfort and it's a vanilla spice eggnog. Oh, just stop it. Like shut the front door. You don't need any more eggnog after that. It's thick. So if you don't like a light eggnog, I mean, this is exactly what you need with a little bit of spiced libation maybe. It's so good.
It's delicious. We have that too. That's what we've been getting. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, really? It's so funny. We're like brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, I know when you're reading ahead, we were going to be talking about staying mindful and present during the holidays, which is part of what we're going to talk about today. But first, we're going to talk about caregiving. We've had so much feedback, Colin, we've told you this, we've had so much feedback from our attendees on Coffee with the Coaches about caring for older adults, caring for dependents, not just during the holiday season, but all the time. And, you know, how difficult it is for people to do that, given the constraints now, especially during COVID and this pandemic, where their resources aren't as, big an option as they used to be. So I want to invite everybody who's listening today, who's with us, to please share what those challenges are. We are going to talk more after Colin tells us what your benefit resources are for you as a caregiver, caring for dependents. But we want to know what those challenges are. And once Colin is finished there, we're going to talk about some tips for you caring for the caregiver as well, because that's more important, I think, during the holidays than it is at any other point in time, and especially in 2020. So, Colin, I'm going to throw this to you and let everybody know as well that we have put the handout for Bright Horizons with the backup care and the resources as in the handout. So everybody, please go ahead and download those handouts while we're talking today, so that you don't forget to do that before we're all finished. So with that, Colin, thank you again, and we're looking forward to hearing more.
Sure. So I think, one of the best kept secrets of the Bright Horizons benefit is that Lenovo covers most of the cost if you're using backup care. So, not only is it a really kind of high touch service, so you call Bright Horizons and we take care of the caregiving arrangements for you. but also Lenovo on the back end is covering most of the cost for you. So I think it's important just to keep in mind you have this benefit for those emergency situations. And especially now if you can't get to your elderly loved ones, or you're worried about kind of health and safety protocols, we've enhanced the health and safety factors that go into the caregivers that we send to your home or the home of your loved one. So I'm kind of talking abstractly, but I want to put it into real terms. If you are a caregiver of an adult or elderly loved one in your life, and they live across the country or just in a different community, and you're worried about them, you have 15 days of backup care annually. And when you use backup care, you just pay a copay if you actually use the service. So you'll pay $6 per hour, which is extremely affordable if you're, considering paying out of pocket, a home health aide or a personal care assistant. We have a great network across the country already vetted, and we're putting the Bright Horizons quality seal of approval on those people. You call one number, you call Bright Horizons. So that is the least amount of stress as possible. Imagine you're on the horn trying to reach out to, you don't even know where to start. You call Bright Horizons, and we do the legwork for you of finding quality care and sending that person to your loved one's home. So for the holidays, I can imagine, if you're in a situation where you can't travel and get to your loved one, this is a great way to have peace of mind. You can have a caregiver head to their home, cook for them, make sure they're up and about, they're doing well. We can help with activities of daily living, bathing and grooming, really just being there for your family member when you can't directly be there or you're making the care arrangements.
Wow, that's so amazing. Like, that is really amazing. I'd be really curious to know, the people who are listening, if anyone knew of this service, just out of curiosity. That's amazing. So anybody can call, just call Bright Horizons. And so is it for older adults? Is it for kids? Is it for, if we have a disabled family member? Is it for any sort of dependent care, Colin?
It is for any dependent care. It's total family care. Whatever your family situation is, if this is a person who you are directly responsible for caring for, or you're directly responsible for making those care arrangements, you can use this backup care service for those family members. There's no real eligibility verification. This is for brothers and sisters too. If you have a brother or sister that you're caring for, if you have in-laws, Lenovo brings you this benefit to lower your stress, and help you kind of see your purpose and connection, holistically to your family.
Interesting. That is such a cool benefit. So if I want someone else to take care of my kids while I'm working, and that's legit. I don't need to, because mine are older. So they're,
I'm not laughing at. I'm just laughing at how you said it. So if I'm sick of my kids, how do I have someone else
want someone to take care of them instead of me? If I want someone to make them lunch, I'm just kidding. But really, I mean, if I'm really, if I actually can't leave the room, my door is closed, I have to lock it so I don't have any interruptions, right? Can I use it for that? Can someone, if my kids were little, could I be like, oh my gosh, I need help. I just don't have anybody else to help me.
That's a great way to use it. Absolutely. So you're working from home. You're trying to juggle, making sure your kids are doing their virtual learning. You can absolutely use the backup care program for that, solving that issue. You can be home, have a caregiver there. Again, you'll just pay that $6 per hour copay. We also have child care centers available in our network too. So you pay $15 for the whole day, and your child's, in a classroom setting with kids of the same age group. so that's a great way for them to have fun for the day while you actually get work done.
Yeah.
And I also want to introduce the idea of our what we call the enhanced family supports as well. And I think the bread and butter there is a membership to sittercity.com. So it's a free membership for Lenovo employees through this benefit. And you can use sittercity.com to find a babysitter or nanny. If you're flipping between virtual school or an in-person school, and that's a long-term problem, backup care can cover 15 days, but then you can use sittercity.com to really schedule your long-term plan and figure that out.
Wow, that's a great service. I used to use Sitter City when our kids were smaller, but wow, that's a really great service too. So a free membership to Sitter City. The backup care is it 15 days per year, Colin? Just to clarify.
Correct, per calendar year. Yep.
Per calendar year. So is it January to December sort of calendar year?
It is.
Okay, so not from the time you start utilizing the program. Okay.
Correct.
Somebody had a question, and I think we've answered it. Do you have any age restrictions? And it sounds like age is not an issue. And then how about COVID precautions? Because I know everybody obviously is concerned about, what are the precautions that caregivers are taking at this time? So is Bright Horizons involved anyway in what those precautions are? Do you talk to the companies about what their precautions are?
Yeah, through backup care, we do have many partnerships with partner child care centers or in-home care agencies. So we've kind of gotten them on board with our enhanced COVID protocols. Across the country, we've lowered classroom capacities and ratio sizes. So, teachers are typically, seeing less children in their classroom, and classroom sizes are smaller. For in-home caregivers, everyone is wearing a mask if they're coming to your home or going to anyone's home. And we have kind of a full listing of enhanced screening questions when you go to make a reservation. Yeah. So we want to make sure not only are our caregivers being safe, but our end users are also, excluding themselves if they've, potentially been exposed to COVID or have been experiencing symptoms.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Someone had raised their hand, and I'm going to unmute you. And you can tell me if you don't want to speak. Shelley, did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
No, I didn't. I was just, because I don't use this enough, GoToMeeting. So I was kind of again more navigating and I just downloaded the attachments, but
yeah,
that was me. That was me clicking away.
Okay.
That was my problem too with the audio, so I hear you, Kelly.
All right.
I will lower my hand.
Colin, so what's the easiest way for people to access these services? What's like the part of the Lenovo benefits page, or who do they contact? How do they get the ball rolling on this fantastic stuff?
Yep. We have a great Lenovo employee Bright Horizons landing page. So I have the URL. I don't know if it's clients.brighthorizons.com/Lenovo. Backup care is listed on that website. All of these enhanced family supports are listed on that website. And I touched briefly on Sitter City, but there's a whole suite of benefits to help you support, your children, your elderly loved ones on that Lenovo landing page.
That's really fantastic. Now, Colin, just a question. So when you choose, so your 15 days that you get, so of backup care, does that mean, is it a number of hours, or is it literally times you use the service? Because I guess if I need somebody for 12 hours, right? If I need someone from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., that's considered one day. Or if I only really need somebody for 2 hours, is that considered your one day?
It's a great question. And yes, the 15 days are really each time you use it. Okay. And for in-home care, there is a maximum of a 10-hour reservation.
Okay, good to know. Yep.
Yep. For center-based childcare, it's really the whole day that the child care center is open, which is typically 11 or 11 and a half hours for the whole day. You know, typical hours are 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Right. That's really fantastic. And so are people able to choose, like if they know that there's a facility, or is it a specific, because I know I've seen Bright Horizons facilities. So is it always a Bright Horizons facility that, you would send your kid to, or are there other companies that are also in that sort of network?
Yeah, great question. The bulk of our backup care network are our partner child care centers. So yes, we do have Bright Horizons locations available across the country, but we partner with centers like Tutor Time, La Petite Academy, and those really fill out the majority of our backup care center options, just because we partner with so many child care centers across the country.
Wow, that's so cool. Kim, were you able to get on the website?
Yeah, I was. And then just so everybody knows, I put it in the chat. I was able to link it to the entire audience in the chat. So if you guys didn't catch that, it's in the chat box. It's super cool. Like everything is on there. Like you said, Colin, the like COVID precautions are on there. It goes over all the resources. Yeah, I feel like this is another one of those like hidden Lenovo benefits that there's so many for employees. It just kind of unfortunately gets lost. And I'm glad we're able to bring it to light, especially with the current situation.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Now, does anybody have any questions for Colin while we still have him here? And please don't forget to download the Bright Horizons handout that is attached to the webinar, so that you have that, the number and the website, and kind of a highlight of what those benefits are. So we'll give you guys a minute to just kind of type in any questions or raise your hand if you want to ask Colin any questions. I think it's such a phenomenal resource. I'm not familiar with what other companies offer their employees in terms of backup care. I honestly had not heard of that before. But I think that's so cool. Like, it's really cool. You guys are really lucky.
If you need pet care, you can find pet care on Sitter City.
Pet care.
Need help with their dogs or their cats or whatever. There's all sorts of good stuff on here.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right. So we've got a question.
Awesome.
All right. Kim, you got that?
Yeah, so the question is, are the benefits only for children, people living in your household? This person has a relative who's living outside their home. Would she be eligible, or is it just within the household?
Does not have to be within your household. This can be for any relative, family member, or really any loved one in your life that you're caring for directly, or that you're arranging the care for. I think the baseline idea here is to reduce your stress at work. So you're not calling 50 different numbers. You can call Bright Horizons and get the care you need for, a wide range of folks that are in your family and outside of your home.
So even like, I grew up with like my parents' friends or my aunts and uncles now. So if like I thought those people needed an extra set of hands or an extra, whatever, I could use it for them as well. You're not going to check my bloodline or my family tree to make sure that they're in my family?
No, but I want to be careful here. It really should be someone that you are making care arrangements for or caring for. So it's not, anyone and their brother. You can tell your neighbor.
Right, your neighbor's brother's cousin. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
You want to keep it on the legit side.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question.
Is that another question? 200 people living. Nope, that's it.
That's it.
Awesome. All right. So if we have any other questions come in, Colin, we will forward them to you. You are welcome to stay on the call. We're going to talk about, caring for the caregiver a little bit here, but we appreciate you and we appreciate those benefits, and we think that's so super cool. And we would love to have you back, maybe in the new year sometime, just to reiterate, this amazing benefit that employees have.
I'd love to come back. This is a great way just to reach employees where they are. So thank you for having me. Thanks for the questions. I do have to jump now, but yeah, I would love to connect again in the new year. So thank you, everybody.
Absolutely.
A wonderful holiday season, and see you in 2021.
Absolutely. Bye, Colin. Happy holidays.
You too. Thank you.
No
Bye.
problem. Okay, guys, so we're going to talk about, caring for you. So if you are caring for somebody in your life, and whether that's somebody in your house or, parents who are in a facility and, you're feeling the pressures of not being able to see them or seeing them distantly, that sort of thing. So how do you care for yourself? I would love to hear that from you guys as well. Being a caregiver, again, doesn't mean that it's just elderly parents. It could be a disabled family member. It could be children. Because of COVID and the pandemic that we're in, we're all under an enormous amount of stress to work from home, take care of the kids at home, whether they're in school or not in school. Sometimes I wonder which is more stressful, than being in school or than being toddlers. Because that's legit, because mine are older, which is easier, I think, and having little ones at home and trying to juggle all of the demands that are on us to take care of them, but then still kind of take care of ourselves. So how do you do that, right? How do you do that? What do we need to do to take care of the caregiver? So I wrote down a couple of things while doing the research. And one of them was, and I know a lot of people are taking time off over the holidays, but I do know that some people aren't able to take time off. So starting with the people who aren't able to take the time off over the holidays, I use this phrase that my kids have while they're when they're in a normal day of school, and it's called a brain break. You heard of that, Kim? Yeah.
Big fan.
So, yeah, big fan of the brain break, right? And so, well, what does that mean? It just means getting out of the current space that you're in. So, if you're sitting in front of the computer all day, or if you're, running around doing this and doing that and just trying to keep up with all of the stuff, it's just taking 5 minutes. Maybe it's not even 5 minutes. Maybe it's 1 minute, right? And just getting away. So moving away from your computer, maybe it's standing out on your porch, taking, 10 seconds to just breathe mindfully and just do nothing, making a conscious effort to do nothing. I had a really interesting conversation the other day with one of my clients who, it was purposeful doing nothing, right? It's one thing at the end of the day to, just like, I just want to veg, right? We just want to veg at the end of the day because our brain is just overwhelmed. Well, what we typically will do to veg is like sit in front of the TV and snack, or is do nothing, but we're still doing something. And so that's when we tend to get like bored and we want to eat and we want to do other things. But that's not really self-care. Self-care and doing nothing literally means stopping all things, taking a rest, taking a break, right? Doing nothing, like a conscious doing nothing. If you ever seen, we have a Roku, and it stops, and it's not a commercial, and there's like a 60-second sort of clock, but it's like a rainforest in the background. It says, do nothing for 60 seconds. You're like, what? But that's what it is. It's an intentional brain break. So I was like, they know what they're doing in the schools, right?
Yeah, I like that a lot. My workspace is set up so I can see vehicles go by. So it's the holidays. So I've told myself every time FedEx or UPS or USPS goes by, I need to get up and walk to the mailbox and come back. A lot of times it takes me more time to get my shoes and my coat on than it does to actually get to the mailbox and back. But just like getting outside, getting fresh air, if there's sunshine here, that's a bonus, but just break the cycle. You just gotta it's kind of like a quick shake to your shoulders of just okay, do something else, reset, don't sit in the same position for too long. We've talked about that before. Right. You could exercise for 3 hours a day. If you sit on your tush for 8 to 10 hours to work, the research has shown that you're pretty much undoing all of that exercise you've done, because sitting is that bad for you. So just being able to break that cycle, even if it is, like you said, a minute, 30 seconds, you just got to have those little breaks to do something different.
Yeah. One of the other things in terms of caring for the caregiver is sharing the responsibility for caregiving. I know for some people that's difficult. Everything is more difficult now with COVID, but recognizing what your options are. So obviously Bright Horizons is a great option. So if you don't have somebody in your life that can help you with sharing the responsibility for caring for that loved one, contact Bright Horizons. You don't have to do it alone. And I think, you know, with multiple children, and I've seen this with siblings of older parents, you know, regardless if they're disabled, there's a lot of things you need to do for parents. You know, we're in that space right now, and I'm not close, so I can't contribute. So, but there are other siblings that are doing the things. One tends to take on more of the responsibility in most families than others. And as that caregiver, you have to recognize that you need to ask for help, and you need to know when to ask for help. So that's really, really important too. So sharing that caregiver responsibility. There are great resources for you. Like if you look up, you know, kind of caring for the caregiver, how do you have those conversations? Like those are not easy conversations. Those are difficult conversations, but I think, you know, it's not a blame game. It's not a, you know, you're not doing your part. It's a, I really need some help here. I'm feeling very overwhelmed, and I could you please help me help them, right? So I know that that can be really, really challenging, but recognizing where somebody else can help you. And again, it doesn't have to be within your family, because now you have this amazing benefit of Bright Horizons and backup care and daily care and stuff like that. So that was a really big one that I thought was really important.
Yeah, and I know that most local hospitals also have like caregiver support groups. So like a lot of people that are maybe caring for elderly parents or parents on hospice or stuff that's like very stressful and very difficult. Not that all other things are not stressful and difficult, but I know that there are support groups out there as well, so you don't feel alone. A lot of times it can be hard to relate to other people that aren't caregivers because they don't understand what you're going through. So it's nice to have that support group to just kind of bounce ideas off of, and somebody may have thought of something that you haven't thought of. And back to what you said, Holly, about asking for help, like I know a lot of people struggle with that because they look at it as a sign of a character flaw, like, oh, I should be able to get everything done. And that's not it at all. I think asking for help is actually a sign of strength, that you can you're able to see a lapse or a gap, and you can say like, hey, I need help. Like, can we all, get together on a monthly call and see what we can do for mom? Like, I know, Holly, you're further away, but can you maybe do like the researching part of getting her medications delivered? And I'm down the street, so I can make sure that she goes in the mailbox and picks them up. Like, kind of just finding out that plan that works for your family. And that's just having that discussion and just realizing a lot of people, like, they probably don't know how much you're undertaking. Like, it's not malicious. I really don't think that people are like, oh, I enjoy watching her struggle, I'm just going to let her do it on her own. A lot of people just don't know the stress
realize
to take on. So don't be afraid to shed the light on that. And I'm obviously not telling you to go and create a rant on how you're so miserable. That's probably a bad idea. But just like once you've gotten over the being upset, like people do better when you have a calm conversation versus being really upset. It's okay to be upset, not saying you shouldn't be upset, but just make sure you process those emotions yourself first before you have that conversation with somebody else.
100%. And along with that is being realistic about how much you can care for somebody without harming your own health, right? Because burnout is a real thing with caregivers. And again, 2020 is full of it. Like, it's just, those ornaments that say stink, stank, stonk, 2020. Yeah, that's where we're at. So you have to recognize your limitations with caregiving, and that it's okay to ask for help, right? So I want to ask you guys a question. I'm going to launch a poll here. So which of these are signs of caregiver stress? I'm going to launch this right here. Which of these are signs of caregiver stress? Select any or all: feeling overwhelmed, losing interest in activities you once enjoyed, becoming agitated easily, frequent headaches, or bodily discomfort. So we're going to let that play out there for a minute. It is really interesting because you don't typically, when you hear burnout, you typically think of work, right? Like work, like I'm going to the office, I'm working too many hours. But burnout is actually about anything. It can be being overwhelmed with whatever it is that's going on in your life. And so I think it's important that we do recognize what the signs and symptoms of burnout are, or caregiver stress. Yeah, and I think everybody's pretty much chosen, let's see here. Yep, everything's in. And you would all be correct. All of those things are signs and symptoms of caregiver stress. And I think, you know, the main point to realize from there is that you just have to know you, right? So when you're feeling overwhelmed, when your surge capacity is up here and you just can't do anymore, you know, if you're constantly snapping at people, if you're too tired, or, you know, you're sleeping too much or too little. I mean, all of those similar signs of distress, right? That's when you need to get help. And so I think it's really important to reach out to, you know, whatever resource you think is best for you in that moment. And if you don't know, contact me or Kim. I mean, that's what we're here for as well. We're here to help you figure out, you know, what you need as well. So I know we're running over a little bit of time here, but I do want to share with you one thing that you know, when we think about the holidays and how to be mindful and present, because I know this is really about being mindful and present during the holidays, and we touched on that in our last Coffee with the Coaches. I have a friend who is a coach. She's also a nurse, but she does some sort of, you know, shake selling situation. But anyway, so, you know, but she's very social, and she's got these really great posts on social media. And one of the things that she has made a conscious effort to do every morning is that she has 3 children as well. So she's a very, very busy mom. She wakes up early, about an hour before her children wake up every morning, and she's not a morning person. And she has a journal, and she has a chair that she goes and sits in. And she's conscious about writing out affirmations and intentions and goals for the day, enjoying her morning coffee, instead of, you know, being woken up by the kids and then starting your day in this harried manner. And I don't know why it struck me, because I do. Like, if I wake up early, I go downstairs, I'll start scrolling on my iPad, shopping for Christmas gifts, or, you know, finding what Twitter has to say. Or so what I'm doing is I'm not setting my intention. I'm on somebody else's time, right? So when you're being woken up by the kids, or if you're, you know, scrolling through Twitter or social media or shopping, you're really not doing, that's not really self-care. You're just not being productive for the most part. Because I can tell you, I've never purchased anything at 6 o'clock in the morning when I get up and I'm scrolling. Like, it's not productive at all. But I thought, what a great way to start the day. And I know that when I wake up in the morning, wow, and before them, it is really a time for me to, like, get my bearings for the day. I love that idea. So I personally, I might not get up super early, but I'm going to get up at least 30 minutes earlier than what my kids do, because I really do. That is good time for me. That's time for me to sit back and reflect and be present, and to bring my best self forward in the day. So I
don't have kids, but my husband does that before I get up. He gets up at 4, I get up at 5. He gets up to do his own thing before I have a chance to run a chaos train on it. So
4 o'clock in the morning, that's so early.
We go to bed. We're in bed by like 7:38, so it's not that bad. We also don't have kids yet. I'll let you know in 2 months how that's going.
2 months, girl, you got weeks. All right, we're gonna tie things up. A couple people had to jump, and we
questions or anything from anybody.
Yeah.
enjoy your holidays. I'm sure you guys, a lot of people are taking off next week and the week after. 2 long weekends if you're not though, so that's super cool. I wish the holidays felt like this every year. That would be amazing.
Oh, wait. Look, there's my
I
shirt.
love that movie. That's on my like to watch Christmas movie list for Christmas Eve.
We just watched it last weekend, so we're pretty excited. So Merry Christmas, everybody. So this hopefully won't be Kim's last Coffee with the Coaches with me for a couple months. Hopefully she'll be back January 7th, but that baby is due on the 13th, so we don't know. So we will keep you posted. Hopefully we'll see Kim on the 7th. Merry Christmas, everybody. Please reach out if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to say hi to us. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.